Welcome back to Adulthood, friends. This is the discussion-based podcast where two former childhood acquaintances, now friends, discuss the things that adverb grant.
Anthropologically.
Anthropologically.
The things that anthropologically matter.
That's your adverb of the week. Anthropologically. Anthropologically.
Josh,
damn it.
Anthropologically.
Anthropologically. That sounds derpy.
You're
to
still
say
very smart,
anthropologically.
Josh. It's okay. We all make mistakes. And I'm Aya.
And I'm Josh.
And I'm Grant.
And today we have part 2 of Astronomy versus Astrology, or Astrology versus Astronomy. I forget which one we put first.
It's Astronomy
before.
versus Astrology, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
The important one goes first.
Yeah, the important one.
Astrology? Oh,
No.
Astronomy. Oh my god. Yeah, and this is episode 55.
Mm-hmm. We're going to continue comparing and contrasting astronomy and astrology.
Mm-hmm.
I think probably more in this episode, we'll get more into the astronomy side of things.
Let's hope so. And we'll learn more from Professor Grant.
More sciencey stuff. From Professor Dr. Grant Vezina.
Doctor Professor. Which goes first, doctor or professor? I don't know.
I don't think you use them both at the same time.
No. Derfessor.
We do.
Per doctor. Which sounds better, per doctor or derfessor? I like derfessor.
Derfessor.
Anthropologically, Professor.
So we'll hear more and
yeah,
we'll learn lots. And
let's jump back into it.
Let's just jump it right in. And we're back.
Oh, it's so good to be back again with Dr. Grant Vezina.
Derfessor.
It's just fabulous to be here.
So where were we? What were we talking about? Astronomy, astrology.
I don't know. It's been a week. How are we supposed to remember, Josh?
Quote unquote, a week.
What are you guys drinking? You both have very cool mugs. I'd like to...
I mean, I was drinking tea this time, so you wouldn't make fun of me.
Oh, actually, no. Your mug isn't cool. I take it back.
It's actually a Canada mug.
Yeah, I take it back. But you're drinking tea. Why wouldn't I make fun of you for tea? What kind of tea?
I'm saying you wouldn't make fun of me for this.
No,
Usually make fun of others. I specifically drank something.
I don't make fun. I criticize. I tell you that your giant bottle of Diet Pop is terrible for you. That's what I do. Okay, I'm trying to help you.
I'm trying to save your life, Josh.
I tell you these things because I care. Yeah. Got like a ball of aspartame building in your stomach. But Grant, you had a mug earlier. Do you still have it?
I did, but I specifically bought the water so that I wouldn't get criticized.
He's listened enough to these to know that you'll criticize what people drink.
You think I would not criticize you. I would be like, if Grant was drinking diet soda, I'd be like, or Diet Pop, as we like to say.
Like, aren't you a dentist? Like, what's
yeah.
wrong with you? Yeah.
I'd be like, is it actually not bad for us? Because if Grant's drinking it, and then you'd be like, well, actually, if you drink a certain amount and you drink a sip of water 3 hours afterwards, it doesn't affect your enamel. It actually strengthens your enamel and enhances your GI tract. I don't know. Like, it would be some crazy thing. And I'd be like, I guess that's true. But like, I don't think that's...
Sadly, it's not. It's not true.
It's not. I mean, diet soda tastes like crap anyways. Who needs it?
Have you ever heard of the saying that doctors are their own worst patients?
Yeah.
I don't trust somebody, whatever they do, just because they are a doctor in something. Not saying that I wouldn't trust Grant.
No, it's okay.
But you can teach something correctly and do something incorrectly.
Yeah.
Like you can be an astronomer who believes in astrology.
You could, yes.
Also, we could criticize you for drinking bottled water. We could do that.
You could.
You could do that.
I won't. I don't care. Well, I mean, I care a little, but I don't care. Like now I feel like people are gonna be like, you don't care about bottled water. I mean, I don't know.
In Ontario, I always drank tap water.
Oh.
And then I came to Florida and I was doing the same thing and people looked at me like an alien.
Oh, is it not clean enough to drink, really?
It's true. The same thing in LA to some degree.
Really?
Yeah.
Although better than Florida, probably.
American water systems are not as good as what we have in Ontario.
We're not next to Great Lakes.
Right. Exactly.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, what are you guys drinking?
That were formed by the position of the stars at different times. Segue.
Well, kind of, yes.
Yeah, what are you guys drinking? Like, where's your water coming from?
Okay, we have to answer what we're drinking, or I can't mentally.
Yeah, can you just answer my question? You had a mug
earlier. Tea.
Thank you. See,
I said that already.
What is on your mug? There's something on there.
It's the Star Trek symbol.
Oh, see, this was related. Okay, Josh, don't worry. And what is in your mug?
Coffee.
Okay.
With no sugar in it.
Good for you.
Because sugar is bad.
Sugar is bad.
For your teeth, which Grant works on.
And for your body. And for your mind.
By the way, you're the second. Actually, that's not true. Daniel Botner is a dentist. His brother's an orthodontist, but you're the first orthodontist, I guess, we have on.
That's so specific.
I just realized I thought we were going to say we had two orthodontists on, but
Hmm.
we had a dentist on, we have an orthodontist.
And you guys are not the same
Okay.
thing. And do you get offended if people call you a dentist or vice versa?
No, because like
You're also a
You're a
dentist.
specific type of dentist.
I
Okay.
was a dentist. Yeah. I just
Specialized.
I don't fill teeth anymore.
Right.
I just move them around. Now,
Right.
when I wanted to get a American dental license, I had to go back after 2 years of just moving teeth and find some people that had the right type of cavity and get them to show up at 5 a.m. to a different city
Oh.
and do those cavities on people
Why?
to get the license.
Oh, wow.
Oh.
And it's like, is that ethical? Like,
Yeah.
to have a examination system that way?
Did you give it? Yeah.
You're probably giving your friends a lot of soda, like a lot of sugary
Yeah.
soda, so that they
Yeah.
get cavities, so that
And you're
you
like,
can,
drink it on this side, okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. Drink it specifically
so
here.
that you have some work
No,
to help
I-
get you your license.
You probably gave them free work. They were probably so happy.
That explains it.
I paid them to go there to make sure they showed up.
Well,
No.
'Cause
that's amazing. I have
otherwise-
to pay to get my cavities
Yeah,
filled. So,
yeah. If they don't show up, you lose your examination fee.
oh yikes. Okay.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's awful.
Mhm.
So they changed the system like a couple years ago, but it was like kind of weird.
I will say, similar to Daniel Botner, though,
Yeah.
both of you have fathers who you came from a lineage of dentistry.
Yeah, that's true.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I think that's a thing. I don't know. A lot of the dentists I know, it runs in the family.
Yeah. And Daniel's brother, I think, is an
Mhm.
orthodontist too.
I was just saying that I think maybe your headset had disconnected or something. In
It
that
did,
moment.
yeah.
Oh.
His
Yeah.
brother's an orthodontist. His sister's a dentist. His dad's a dentist. The whole family.
Yeah.
Hmm.
See, I'm an only child, so I don't have any siblings.
But your wife is an orthodontist.
Oh,
Right.
yes.
That's perfect. So,
Yeah.
astronomy versus astrology. By the way, what have we covered so far, basically?
So, what are the impacts on society
Yeah.
and the individual? We basically answered that with your
Did we?
second thing. Oh, Grant has something to say.
Can I?
Yeah.
We were talking about the Great Lakes for a second
Oh, yeah.
because of our wonderful water
Hmm.
in Ontario that tastes so good.
It does.
But those were partially carved out by the ice sheets in the ice ages.
Oh.
And the ice ages were essentially determined by the changes in the Earth's orbital parameters, which I think it was a Serbian guy named Milutin Milankovic figured out, called them the Milankovic cycles. And you charted out how much sunlight ends up in the northern hemisphere, and you get pretty much an exact map of what the average temperature was, and then the ice sheets. So they come down,
Cool.
carve out these basins, and then we get our wonderful Great Lakes around Ontario.
Wow.
So, you just connected what you're drinking to our larger topic.
Yeah, yeah,
That's very
yeah, I
impressive.
did.
That's great. Grant, I think there was, maybe you recall this because I always makes fun of me, but you've watched Stargate.
I don't make fun of you.
Yeah,
I just
what?
say. I
You
just
don't
say,
make fun of me?
I mean, I do make fun of you, but not for that. I think I just like to make jokes because you get really like annoyed very easily about it. So I think it's so easy.
I'm triggered by everyone having made fun of
Yeah.
me for something that I love.
Exactly. Like you expect me to make fun of you for it more than I actually do make fun.
Maybe I'm wrong in that regard. I apologize if I am.
think you are.
But Grant, you also have watched and you like Stargate, correct?
I have watched, and yes, I like Stargate.
But do you recall there was an episode, I believe, of Stargate Atlantis?
Okay.
It was the spin-off Stargate
The
show.
spin-off.
Yeah.
5 seasons.
Yeah. And there was an episode where he accidentally got flung into the future, far into the future.
Okay.
In the same place, on the same planet they were on, but far, far into the future. And the whole planet was close to, I think, burning up,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah.
I think this is kind of what you were talking about as well. There was enough shift in the stars and its positioning in space
Yeah.
that suddenly the world became uninhabitable.
So it's actually a different mechanism.
Okay.
The ice ages are just like the Earth's orbit stretches into a oval and then comes back to a circle, and the axis.
I see. So that goes back and forth.
Right. The axis rotates around. So maybe the northern hemisphere gets its summer when the Earth is further from the sun or closer to the sun. That creates these ice ages for the last few million years. And we are still in an ice age right now. There's ice sheets in Greenland and Antarctica. And for most of geologic history, there are no ice sheets whatsoever. There were even alligators in the Arctic islands of Canada at one point. So things change pretty crazy over time. But what you're referring to with this episode is essentially the ultimate fate of the Earth, is that the sun gets brighter over time. And it's fairly predictable. It's about 10% every billion years, which also kind of makes it remarkable. Okay, if the Earth formed 4.5 billion years ago, the sun was way dimmer, like 40%, and yet there was still liquid water on its surface for all this time for life to evolve. So probably biologic processes have changed the atmosphere and helped moderate the changes in the Earth's climate.
Well, we know that to be the case, that we
Yeah.
can affect the climate, right, as we're seeing with climate change.
Right. Yeah. So there's the great oxidation event where photosynthesis developed en masse and changed carbon dioxide into oxygen. And that carbon dioxide was a greenhouse gas that made the oceans liquid at a time when the sun was much dimmer. This is like 2.1 billion years ago. And so then that created a snowball Earth. Like the whole thing just froze for tens of millions of years until volcanoes broke through and created more carbon dioxide to raise the temperature up. But eventually, the amount of sunlight coming in is going to get bigger. So a billion years from now, it's going to be 10% brighter. And, you're going to reach
So summer's really going to suck. Yeah.
a point that feedback processes can't compensate. And so the oceans will evaporate and it'll be one giant desert, and that will be the end of life on Earth.
Oh, but not anytime soon.
Sounds fun.
I mean, not because of that. There's lots of things that can end life on Earth before that, right?
Right. It's really tough to kill all life on Earth.
Have you tried?
It might shift. It might change.
Like there's been lots of mass extinctions. Yeah. Like you can wipe out 98% of, well, maybe not 98, but 95% of species and stuff still comes back. Like as long as something survives,
we're weeds.
Something's going to come back to fill those niches until the temperatures are just out of control that, life can't adapt.
Right.
What do you think will survive the next catastrophe, Grant?
Oh,
Grant will. No.
What did he say?
No.
Grant will. I mean, there's so many other variables by that point, like what's already in existence at that
I guess
time.
it depends on what it is. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
I think the dodo birds will come back and survive.
Yeah. Okay, I have an answer.
Okay,
it took me a moment, but
that's okay. Yeah, you're allowed to think.
It's going to be small life forms. So, like mammals survived the extinction of the dinosaurs, and birds are dinosaurs, and they survived. So it was like little mouse-like creatures and little birds that didn't need much food to get by because you had a meteoritic winter for 1,000 years after the asteroid crashed into the Yucatan. Anything that was bigger than that couldn't live. So if something disrupts the food chain, then you're going to have to be small so that you don't need that much energy to live through it.
Okay.
That's an amazing answer.
That
God
was
damn
great.
it.
Yeah. So the small things. So it's good to be small. Yeah.
Yeah.
But not small people, like just smaller beings, you're saying, like mice and stuff.
Well, I'm sure that has advantages too.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I don't know. Thank you for your thoughtful answer. Okay, Josh, I know you want to talk.
Speaking of the future of astronomy, I think we've had some new developments recently. Aside from that image I think we saw on Mars of what looked like a bear. I mean, just like the landscape.
Yeah.
There was like a funny image that looked like a bear's face.
Oh yeah, that was groundbreaking.
Like a Loch Ness Monster situation.
It changed everything.
Yeah, it changed it. Yeah. Obviously that's just funny.
Yeah.
And cute. But the James Webb telescope is a pretty big new.
Yeah.
Well, the telescope itself, I don't know, is that the advancement or what it's managed to do is the big advancement?
Well, both. I mean, the Earth's atmosphere is relatively transparent in visible wavelengths of light that our eyes can see. And that's probably why our eyes see in those wavelengths, is because you get lots of sunlight coming through that window of transparency in the atmosphere. Once you get into the infrared, the atmosphere becomes quite opaque. So Earth-based observatories can't do infrared astronomy. So the James Webb telescope uses enormous mirrors that unfolded in space and cryogenically cooled sensors to look at light in extreme infrared wavelengths. And that's important.
Something the Hubble telescope couldn't do, right?
Right, because the Hubble telescope was in low Earth orbit, and you actually have a lot of heat radiating from the Earth that would heat the telescope up so that it can't maintain ultra cold temperatures. So James Webb is much further away, like it's further away than the moon, I think. I think it's 1.5 million miles away, whereas the moon is like 260,000 miles.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So it's really far out there, so it can be ultra cold and then look at extreme infrared wavelengths. And those are important because when you get to cosmological distances, there's your adverb coming back.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Actually, cosmological is an adjective.
Well, I don't have a PhD in English, so Anyway, space is expanding between galaxies, and it stretches out the light that came from those very distant places. So if you stretch out the wavelengths, they get redder. So what might have been, white light from a star has been stretched out into very far infrared. And so you need a special instrument that's not on Earth to be able to see it. And so it lets us see really far back in time towards the Big Bang.
And it's really important to point out what that means when you say really far back in time.
Yes.
Because a lot of people don't understand this concept. We're not just looking at such far distances, and we're talking about light years away, right?
Yeah.
I think people know. People know about that, don't they?
Some people do, but not everybody does. But light, because light has to travel as well. That means something could have died. A whole planet could be dead, or a star could be dead far, far away. But its light is only just getting to us now.
Right.
Meaning we're looking into the past, basically.
Yeah. So the galaxy is 100,000 light years across. So if you looked at a star at the other side of our galaxy, that's what it was 100,000 years ago, which in the scheme of geologic timescales isn't very much. Like, there were anatomically modern humans at that time. But if you look at the nearest...
Why didn't they just write it down so we'd know about it now? I'm just kidding.
Well, let me ask you, when did the first writing systems develop?
Oh, no, I can't remember any years ever, but I know isn't it Sumerian?
Sumerian?
Yeah.
Like on the little scritchy scratches on the
The
tablets?
scritchy scratches. I think that's the scientific term.
I'm
Scritchy
really bad at
scratches.
years. Maybe 10,000.
Cuneiform.
Cuneiform. Oh, is it
Cuneiform.
Is that how it's pronounced? I always thought it was cuneiform because I've never actually heard it said out loud.
That's a good question, because it's one of those words that I learned from a book, so I'm not certain.
I've heard it as cuneiform as well.
I've heard cuneiform, or I've read cuneiform. I don't know, actually. Let's look this up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what year. I'm the worst at years, but that's the first writing system. Do, 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 do.
In the Oxford English Dictionary, both are acceptable.
Oh, so we were all right.
Look at that.
Because
That's
everybody's...
the best way, isn't it?
Even the Oxford English Dictionary is reading from a book. They're like, I've never heard anyone say it. I'm just going to write it as both. Both are fine.
So that was the original for that. Yeah, the James Webb Telescope is amazing, and it's sending us incredible images. And as you said, like, a lot of them are from the distant past.
Yes.
That are just getting to us now. These structures just in the universe that we're capturing are beautiful, and to me, kind of scary beautiful.
Yeah.
That's just kind of the epicness of their size, their distance away, and how it dwarfs us.
Yeah.
Obviously, the more we find out about the greater universe, the more we'll learn about ourselves, which I think is really, really cool.
The cool thing is that you can look that far away, and there's a general principle that wherever you are shouldn't be considered special. Like, we're probably in a relatively average area of the universe. So when you look out at a galaxy that is, very close to the Big Bang in time, you're getting an idea of how galaxies form everywhere. And so when we look at 13 billion year old galaxy, 12 billion, 11 billion, depend on these different distances, we can see how galaxies developed and coalesced out of, the gases of hydrogen and helium that were just around in the earliest universe.
So question, is the universe infinite? What's the theories on that?
That is one of those things that is it's practically untestable.
So that's unfalsifiable?
So, like, can't you just throw a rock and see if it, like, hits something eventually? Or
like,
what?
it basically, are we in a big bubble that is expanding? Or are we in, what is the structure?
Josh, what kind of questions are you asking him?
just simple questions. We have them here.
No, it's
Find out the
Tell
answer.
us about the nature of the universe.
Because we should be able to figure that out if we estimate, right, that we started from a speck, one singular area that's expanded from the Big Bang,
right,
from atoms colliding or whatever it is, right?
No.
Josh, no, I have no idea.
Well, maybe.
What's the answer, Grant?
So the short answer is we don't know, but it's very large and much larger than the universe that we can see, most likely. So we can see to what's called the cosmological event horizon. And that's where you're looking so far away that the light has taken so long to get here that we're now looking at like 13 plus billion years ago. Once you start to get within really close to the time period of the Big Bang, space was not transparent. I forget the exact time frame, but there was essentially ionized plasma all through space of hydrogen and helium, and light couldn't go very far.
Oh, and it's been stretched out.
Right. So at that great distance, there was a point where things stretched out and stuff was no longer a plasma and space became transparent. So with a telescope, you can't see any further than where space became transparent. And that is something like a few 100 million years after the Big Bang.
What's on the other side of space?
So we'll never know?
Well, no, because one study measured how flat the universe is. Like if we think the sun bends space-time, like there's a curvature to space on that scale. So they said, okay, well, if we look at these galaxies across the visible universe, is there any curvature to that space? And within the margin of error, which was pretty small, space was flat. And that suggests that there's not any like positive or negative curvature to the universe. And it suggests that the universe is far larger than the visible universe that we can see.
Right.
So because of the stretching of space, we can actually see about 46 billion light years. And the total thing is somewhere around 92 or 93 billion light years across that you can see, even though the Big Bang was 13 billion years ago. The space got stretched in the time in between. So it has to be probably hundreds of thousands of times bigger than the little bubble that we can see in order for any curvature to space-time to be invisible to us.
Isn't it theoretically possible that we can curve space-time and create a wormhole then to more easily travel between?
So the problem with wormholes and like warp drives, like there's this Mexican physicist called Miquel Alcubierre who came up with the Alcubierre warp drive. All of these things to break the speed limit of the speed of light require negative mass.
Mm-hmm.
And we've never seen anything to indicate that negative mass is possible.
Dark matter has nothing to do with that?
Dark matter has positive mass.
Okay.
It doesn't interact with normal matter in any way other than gravitation, but it still has positive mass. So probably the speed limit of the speed of light is a hard speed limit that can't be broken.
Well, you wouldn't be breaking the speed limit per se. You'd be breaking the universe to get around the speed limit.
Yeah, you'd be playing a trick.
If you were to build a wormhole.
Yeah.
In every movie that talks about wormholes, they always do the exact same thing, right? Somebody takes a piece of paper with a circle on it, right?
Yeah.
And then they fold the paper in half and then they pierce, there's like a dot they draw on it, right? And then they pierce a pencil through both ends of the paper.
Yeah.
And like, haha, we've now bent space-time and we folded it on itself. And this is how you get from point A to point B, the shortcut, basically.
Yeah.
You notice they always show it in the same way, right? With that pencil through the paper.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's a
I
pen.
haven't analyzed how wormholes are represented in every movie, but I have a question.
Okay.
Which is better, Stargate or Futurama? Have you seen both?
Of course, I've seen both. Yeah.
Because Futurama also has like its own little weird thing on
Yeah.
how they travel faster than the speed of light. And it's like they use dark matter in their engines and it makes the whole universe move around instead of the actual ship, which makes no sense. But it's funny. And they are smart people who wrote a show. Anyways, yes, your answer to that.
Well, my wife and I do watch quite a bit of Futurama. We like that show.
Futurama for the win.
Pretty good.
That's not what he said.
Good.
But I also love Stargate.
Oh.
So
Okay. But your wife likes Futurama better?
Oh yeah.
Oh, there we go. So
What do you like better, Grant?
I'm avoiding the question.
Oh,
Grant, what do you like better?
Wait, why? It's fine. I'll still be friends with you if you say Stargate. And Josh will still be friends with you if you say Futurama.
We'll see.
Yeah, I think Futurama.
Yes.
Really? I didn't know that.
Oh, I win.
By the way, I like Futurama. Futurama's a good show,
Gosh,
but it doesn't give me the warm, fuzzy feeling that Stargate does. But that's okay, Grant. It's okay. It's subjective.
I'm sorry.
I will tell you one thing. I like Stargate's theme music better than Futurama.
That's fair.
You're all about that theme music.
Oh yeah, I love
I should watch Stargate. I've heard good things.
Grant watched Game of Thrones because I introduced him to the theme music first. I
the
remember.
music's good. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what? Theme music kind of like it brings you into the show. I get it. I think it's an important part.
Fringe. You know the theme music for Fringe?
I don't even know what that is.
J.J. Abrams wrote that.
Did he?
Himself.
Huh.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the most impressive thing he's ever done. And he's done some impressive things.
Yeah, it's really
great
good.
theme music.
Okay.
By the way, speaking of time dilation, because I'm actually we haven't actually used that phrase time dilation, but related to what we're talking about, I've incorporated that as well in the show that I'm writing, Long Distance. And there's that idea that the closer you get to the speed of light, there's an element of time dilation going on. So I think the movie Interstellar focused on this, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Maybe you can do a better job of explaining this than me, even though I'm literally writing it into my show. But basically, in my series, I plan to have a character who's been traveling not the speed of light, but close enough to the speed of light so much throughout his life that his family, like, for example, he has a brother who is younger than him, is now older than him because they're aging at different rates when you're moving that fast.
Yeah.
Do you mind explaining that a little bit, what that means, this idea of time dilation?
It's such a, easy question to throw at me. Oh my gosh.
Well, time dilation is actually pretty
Yeah,
straightforward.
just
once-
explain this like really complicated thing to us quickly in the
Wait,
form
that's
of
actually an easier question if I understand it than the last one I threw at you.
the Futurama versus
No, not counting that
the
one.
size of the universe. And,
Right.
No, so time dilation is created when you get very close to the speed of light, or if you get very close to an extremely large mass. Essentially, space is being distorted in a similar way, whether you're going very fast or you're close to something like a black hole. Any type of gravitational field will have an effect on the passage of time. So there are GPS satellites in orbit that have atomic clocks in them, and they have to adjust for the different rate of the passage of time at the altitude that those satellites orbit as compared to on the ground. Because here it's a little bit slower because we're in a gravitational well, the Earth's gravitational well. But the Earth's gravity is not that strong in the scheme of things. And we're also not going very fast relative to the speed of light. So the difference is in, like, I would guess, microseconds per year. It's big enough that you have to adjust it with an atomic clock, but it's not that big.
So if I dug a hole like really far down and lived there for a while, would my clock be off by a few seconds?
Yes. Yeah. You'd be younger than what you would be otherwise.
Oh, the true fountain of youth.
Exactly.
Digging a hole into the world.
Yeah, people don't
Oh,
actually
man,
realize
that's
that
weird.
time is not a constant in that sense. Well, not in a constant, it's not the right
Why
word.
do you assume that people don't know things, Josh?
I'm not talking about
Yeah,
you.
everybody knows that time is relative, right?
Yeah.
Time is relative. That time is not like a fact everywhere around the world or anything like that. Not around the world, around the universe.
Well, in that Buzz Lightyear movie, they have time dilation.
Yeah, that Buzz Lightyear movie that just came out.
Like he does this thing, and then every 4 years or something, he's like,
That's exactly.
he just does one trip, and everybody's aged 4 years.
I actually really liked that movie. It was that animated
good.
Buzz Lightyear film. Lightyear.
Yeah, Pixar.
Yeah.
For the win.
Yeah.
They actually did a pretty decent job, I think, of explaining at a basic level the concept of time dilation.
Yeah.
And like, if you want to have a really big effect, you have to be going over 90% of light speed. And for it to be significant enough that you would live far longer than a human lifespan, you'd have to be going like 99.5% the speed of light.
Right.
So you have to spend enormous amounts of energy to get up to those kinds of speeds.
Okay.
Right. It's just crazy to me. If you happen to be doing that within close proximity to somebody who's not doing that, if you're going that fast, they will age faster than you.
Yeah.
By moving that fast, you're slowing down your time.
Yeah.
That's craziness, right?
It's pretty sweet. We should try it.
We should all try that sometime. Shave a few years off.
I think we should.
Yeah. Let's shave a few years off of this podcast episode.
Well, I have a kind of final question then.
Okay. For me this time, is that about the
It's for everybody.
universe? Oh.
Actually, all these questions were for you too. You could have
No.
answered at any time.
No, they weren't. No, they weren't. It's okay.
This one I think you can answer. Any of us can answer, but
Let's see.
we touched on it earlier. But do you think there's any merit to believing in astrology or having that belief system? We're calling it a belief system, right? Because I think we're all in agreement that it's not based scientifically as it's being used generally today. I think that's the kind way of putting it. Is there any merit to it? Is it stupid for all these people who believe in it to believe in it? Like, what's the general consensus here? Is there any merit whatsoever to having this as a belief system in your life?
I think it's like any other thing that has no like real basis in it, as long as people are doing it in kind of a harmless way. So like when I go to my yoga classes, they give us these little, they're called like some kind of cards that they give you, and they say something stupid like
Tarot cards?
They're not tarot cards, but they're kind of like that. It'll be like, they say stupid stuff like, come into contact with nature because it gives you some like woo-woo kind of thing, but okay, I'm not explaining it right. I need to find an example. I'm sorry.
Wait, you take yoga, but you don't believe in astrology?
I know. Actually, a bunch of them were like talking about homeopathy afterwards, and I was like, I don't know. Some lady was talking about positive vibrations, and I was like, I can't with you people. Like,
I'm sorry. Do you prefer negative vibrations, Aya?
I prefer negative vibrations. Exactly.
Who doesn't want positive vibrations?
And my negative vibrations were probably like felt by all of them. Let me just see the name of these things. Sorry.
As you're looking up the name of that, by the way,
yeah,
fortune cookies. Those are real.
Of course, yes.
That I trust in.
Oh
Okay, that definitely doesn't follow the P.T. Barnum effect.
Yeah,
that's funny.
I don't like to get fortune cookies because I'm like afraid of if they'll say bad things.
Because it still makes you feel bad, even though
it makes me feel bad.
Even though somebody in a basement is like writing them and getting paid less than minimum wage.
Yeah.
Once in a while you get a fortune cookie and you're like, this is just mean. Like somebody was having a bad day when they wrote this.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, they're like oracle cards. That's it.
Oracle cards.
Yeah. So let me
like from the Matrix, the Oracle.
Exactly like the Oracle. So it'll say something like, just say yes for this one. And it's just like, if you had something in your head that you were hoping for something specific to tell you that the universe is telling you to do something, then, I mean, just say yes is a stupid one, but like, they're all kind of stupid. But it's like, let's say someone has some bit of a feeling, and then along comes a horoscope telling them, you should go ahead and do that thing you've been putting off. And they're like, I should.
That's the universe telling you.
It's the universe telling me. So like, I feel like things like that help people sometimes to like
self-help.
Do the things that they already wanted to do. Overall, they're very stupid and pointless. But
wait, the people or the belief system?
No,
don't call it people.
No, Josh.
I know some smart people
that's true. You know what? If someone's getting something out of it and it's not doing them any harm, like they're not basing their relationships off this, they're not like ignoring someone that they otherwise think is great for them because they are a Capricorn or whatever. As long as it's not affecting their lives negatively, I don't know. Like it's okay.
Yeah. But it's weirdly one of those things that's like relatively harmless, but also triggers me the most. I think because we were talking about it being so easily provably false.
I think that's because of LA. Yeah, I think it's because you're surrounded by people who believe in it. Because like I don't have strong. I think it's dumb, but I don't really care. Sorry. And Grant, what do you think? I went on for a while about oracle cards.
No, oracle cards. It's where it's at.
I don't think it's a problem. I think people want to entertain themselves that way and read their horoscope in the paper. Like I'm not going to judge anybody for it.
Wait, you're not? In your head, you're not going to judge at all, even like a little bit.
See, like I judge people more for not flossing than
Oh, damn it.
Do you floss, Josh? You don't seem like a flosser to me.
Yeah,
you need like a set schedule to be a consistent flosser.
I've been inconsistent, okay? But there have been times I've been more consistent, all right?
Mm-hmm.
If I know I'm going to the dentist.
Oh my God. That's funny.
We can tell,
Yeah, like you floss for one day. We can see that.
I don't have hardly any cavities, if that makes a difference.
Well, fluoride in the water, but anyway.
It's all that diet soda.
So you think it's relatively harmless?
I think it's relatively.
I agree with that. I think that's a good, if it's entertaining for people, then what's the harm? Yeah.
But entertainment is different, right? But having it as a belief system, I know people who don't believe in it, but they find it entertaining, right? That's a bit different.
I go a little bit into that category. Sometimes it's like, read my horoscope. I don't care.
Like it's fun, like we're doing now.
Fine.
We're finding it entertaining, right? As we talk about it now.
We're making fun of it and finding that entertaining. But yes, we're making light of people's beliefs.
Yeah.
There's like a fun, fuzzy feeling to being like, hey, I'm a Capricorn.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I know what I am. And it's kind of, you can fit yourself in a box.
I think if I didn't hate Capricorn so much. Yeah. Like I like the Chinese astrology. Like if.
Oh, right.
Because we're like dragons in that. So
there's
like,
Eastern astrology and Western astrology.
Yeah. So like in Eastern astrology, I'm like, I'm a dragon. That's awesome.
I'm a dragon too.
I'll take it.
What are you, Grant?
But like a Capricorn, lame. He's a snake.
You a snake?
Am I?
How could he not know this? Have you never gone to a Chinese restaurant? No, I'm just kidding.
All the time, actually. But no,
yeah, because 1989.
I mean, I like being a dragon.
1989 is a snake, except that we're born in January, so it's 1988.
It's based on year rather than.
Okay. I wondered why we were different.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. Right. So that's a year-based thing. It's a little different. I have a friend, I remember telling him how I thought astrology was like ridiculous. And he's like, oh my God, Western astrology, it's so dumb. And he was going over why and how the things shifted and changed. And I'm like, right. And he's like, Eastern astrology, that's where it's at. And I was like, oh, He's like, yeah, that's the legit one. Everyone else has it wrong. This is the right thing. And I'm like, and then I couldn't continue speaking the way that I was.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of still think about the Western astrology stuff for all these people that put so much stock into it. Like, how can you just accept, oh, well, the sun wasn't actually there, but we just decided to not account for the Earth's axis precessing? And like, why wouldn't you want to know where the sun actually was in the constellations?
Because it's a feeling. It just feels right, what they've already based it on.
Yeah.
And there's got to be a reason. Now they have to work backwards and justify that feeling.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they'd have something that we've talked about before called cognitive dissonance. And people don't like that feeling. It's very uncomfortable.
Yes.
So to avoid cognitive dissonance, they go along with this feeling that they have, this comfortable feeling that they, fit neatly in this box, and we can categorize everybody in this box, and it helps explain the universe and explain our place in it. It's part of, being able to think, oh, the universe has a purpose for us and everything is ordered and structured in this way. It's like a religious belief system, right?
Sure.
I guess in that way, it's it's useful because it's comforting.
I feel like Grant didn't agree with you on this one. You're
you don't
sure
agree?
was not convincing, Grant.
Well, what part don't you agree with?
No, I agree. It's fine.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, okay. Sorry. You were just like, sure, maybe. Okay.
I was just answering it on my own part that I think it's useful for comfort. It's useful for making people feel that sense of place and comfort. And if that helps you, I guess, in a way that, you be happier in life, I guess that's called blissful ignorance, in my opinion, but bliss is bliss.
Yeah.
So, and if it helps you in a creative sense, like you, for some reason, come up with really good music because you have this belief system, I don't know, that's really subjective, I guess, and that's very personal. But to me, the reason I go off about it so much is having belief systems that you strongly believe in like this that aren't based in science. They're nice when things work out and it makes sense to you, but then your belief systems, when they're not based in science, can actively hurt you.
Yes.
And you believe in something and you make decisions based on it and you predict the future based on it, and things don't work with that belief system because it's not scientific. So bad things can happen, and you have to find other reasons that those bad things happen instead of the real answer is that it doesn't make sense. You should stop making choices in accordance with a belief system that is false. Just statistically, you're going to be wrong most of the time. You'll get the guessing average, as they say.
That's that's a good argument to end on there.
I don't know.
Yeah. I like it. No.
I can't tell with Grant's face I care a lot, Grant, about what you, whether or not you agree with what I'm saying. Was I right or wrong, Professor?
I'll give you a 95.
Oh, shit. Where's the other 5%, as my mom would always say?
Doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist. All right. Well, any final thoughts? I think we covered it.
Yeah. I think we covered the universe, basically.
We covered the universe. We're good. There's so much more, obviously, we could talk about, but I think it was a fun science versus pseudoscience kind of discussion.
Yeah, I enjoyed it, Josh. Thank you.
Yeah.
Me too.
And it was amazing having you on, of course, Grant, and being able
it's nice to see you.
Nice to see you as well. And it's been long enough, I know, but finally I have enough time on my hands that I felt able to do it.
Yeah, that's fair. It's kind of a big time commitment
when you're not professoring and spending time in people's mouths.
Yeah. I mean, that was a lot of hours a week.
And hopefully it's not the last time we'll have you on either. I mean, obviously we can talk to you about literally anything and you have something to teach us.
I would love to come back whenever I can.
Woohoo. Yeah. You can pick our
next. It's got to be a good topic.
You can pick it.
Oh, okay, I'll start thinking.
Yeah, you think.
Thank you so much for joining us and being here and bringing up amazing memories and teaching us valuable lessons. Very valuable. Us and our listeners. We're already great friends. I'm hoping to see you soon. I hope you'll come visit soon.
You can always come visit me too.
Yeah.
I know, but I'm poor, like really poor.
Maybe you should go to the dentist school, not
teaching us
film school.
I need another clinical trial, or maybe I can come visit you.
Well, thank you for having me on. I enjoyed it very much, and it's good to catch up with the both of you. And thank you for doing this podcast. It's very entertaining to me.
Nice.
It means a lot coming from you.
Yeah. Did I thank you yet? I wanted to thank you too. I meant to do that before. Thanks, Grant. It was great. I did thank him.
I meant to do it before.
I'm all
Thanks, Grant.
Period.
God damn it, Josh. Okay, yes. No.
No, I don't think you did. Like, I
don't think I did. Okay. Yeah.
No, she was chastising me. She's like, Josh, you need to thank Grant, but then she herself.
Right.
Thank you for coming on.
Grant.
I guess she's not thankful.
I would like to thank you for teaching us things about I thought I did. Maybe I just did it in my head. I was like, oh, I'm so thankful. Okay. I out loud also am very thankful for all that you've taught us, Grant, and for coming on and making the time to talk to us about things.
And you guys don't.
And I don't see you, so it's
You're
very
not as in touch as Grant and
I
I
haven't
are
seen
lately,
Grant
right?
in like 10 years minimum.
10 years?
No,
At
you know
least,
what?
yeah.
Probably more. Because I think I may have run into you sometimes in like undergrad, but that was about it.
Yeah, I think like
Wow.
yeah, more like 15 or something.
Yeah, you look exactly the same, by the way. You have not aged.
Well, thank you.
Must have been a time dilation.
It's a time dilation situation, because Grant has actually been moving a lot faster than us.
Did you dig a hole to the center of the earth?
No, he's been moving closer to the
there?
speed of light.
Is that where dental school is? Oh,
he lives in Florida. So, he's been moving closer to the speed of light than us. That makes sense somehow.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. That's
well, no, but thank you for real. Thanks.
My pleasure.
It's nice to see you. It is actually legitimately nice to see you. It's been a long time. And we used to be friends a long time ago. We
absolutely
were friends. There's a song. That's
fine. Well, part of why we do this, of course, is that, it's good for connecting and reconnecting. So
now we're friends again.
Yeah.
This is great.
Or we're still friends. We were just like very quiet friends.
Right.
For 15 years.
Yeah. Like we're both kind of reserved people.
That's accurate.
Whereas like Josh is, the opposite. So Josh is like a connector.
That's true. He's a connector.
Whereas introverts,
we
wander on our way.
I'm good over here. Yeah,
I'm good.
That's true. Okay.
It's so fun. I can see the character in a movie that I am, and I know part of me wishes I'm not that guy because that's such a character.
Yeah.
But I'll take it.
No, where you bring people together. Yeah. Look, Josh.
I'll take it. No, I do believe in that.
Yeah.
You helped friendship emerge where it has lain dormant.
Yes.
Got to fertilize those friendships.
Now, I just thought of something. Yeah.
Oh.
I had to like act not an introvert for 5 years when I was like this professor of orthodontics. It was actually a really big thing. I'm like, oh, wow, I have to be outgoing and talk to people all the time. And so I put on this show. Like, it was great.
Yeah.
Oh. I mean, for the record, introverts can be outgoing. You just need to recharge.
Yeah.
We've talked about this before.
Right.
In literally episode 2,
Yeah.
Introvert v extrovert, I think.
Have you listened to that one yet? You probably
I didn't watch that one.
That's
yet,
old.
maybe,
I mean, that's old. That's when
even
our audio devices were worse and everything.
Yeah.
Well, thank you again, Grant.
My pleasure. And
we'll talk again soon.
Talk to you again soon.
Yeah. This has been another episode of Adulthood Friends. Thank you for joining us. And if you'd like to follow us, we have a Facebook page. If you want, also follow us on whatever listening platform you're on.
We're on all of them.
We're on all of them.
All of the platforms.
Yeah. So that's that. I think that's all for that. Great.
She always sounds so enthusiastic when she talks about listening.
That part.
I mean, it's amazing because it's on everything. It's on Spotify. It's on
Apple Podcasts,
Google Podcasts,
Spotify,
Audible. We're on Audible.
That's a new one.
Amazon Music.
But which one has the best bit rate?
I do not know.
That is a question you would ask.
Yeah.
Best bit rate?
That's a very great question. Yeah.
Like, what sampling rate do you record this at, Josh?
Anyway.
Whatever Zoom tells me to do. I just click the record button and that's what happens.
How do we usually end this thing?
I'm just being difficult as I always have been.
Oh, you're never difficult.
It's a fun difficulty. I don't know what to call it. So we end with one of us talking, blah, blah, blah. And then Josh cuts the music at some point.
I don't cut the music at some point. The music just naturally cuts off.
The music magically cuts us off at some astrologically determined.
It's astrologically determined this time. I didn't do it.
Yeah, no. It's all in the stars. Yeah. It's written in the stars.
There's a horoscope out there that explains this.
It's the precession of the equinoxes.